Hey everybody, and welcome back to Double Peak. Been a little while, and well, things have changed around here. We're sat down with Gorilla, the new coach of Team Vitality, to have a chat about how this came about ahead of the upcoming split stage 2. Gorilla, first of all, congratulations. I'm sure this is a big moment in your career as well. Now head coach.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely like, it's definitely a huge step up in terms of responsibility and obviously in the role and the involvement that I have in the team. So, it's huge.
Well, before we get into your first question, I wanted to ask where the name Gorilla actually comes from. What's the origin story here? It's gonna be a good one. Wait, where is this
going? I used to play CS, right?
Okay.
You know, that's fine.
I'm with you.
When I was a teenager, all those years ago. And basically, everyone used to have I used to go into Faceit and ESEA, and everyone's got like these photos of like random girls and Billie Eilish as their Steam picture.
Sure.
And there's this one photo of Billie Eilish, like I'll send it to you after if you want to include it, where she's crying. That I had, to kind of take the mick out of people.
Okay.
But there's one photo and she's crying, and one of my friends said, "Bro, she looks like a tranquilized gorilla." That became my name. And then when I started playing, I was going to uni, and that was still my Steam name. And I was like, I can't go into the CS:GO university tournaments with a name like that. Like I need to change it. And I just cut the first bit off, and that was my name.
So you actually called yourself Tranquilized Gorilla?
That was my Steam name.
The full name?
Mm-hmm. That was my Steam account name.
We've just missed
that
full
one.
name.
Yeah. And then...
all right.
Yeah, and then, it's just Gorilla, and then...
There's many ways I thought that answer was going to go. You have surprised me.
Yeah.
Well, you also wanted a different animal altogether. You were going to ask him about his playing career as well, weren't you?
What, the Ducks?
The Ducks.
Yeah, well, what happened? Because listen, head coach, it's got to be an accolade that everybody wants in the assistant coaching world, but yeah, you come from the playing world. Is any temptation to go back in the future?
No. No. I wasn't really that successful as a player. I was like tier 3 kind of, bottom of the bag.
Boaster in League of Legends,
That was more of
CS. Everything except Valorant.
Yeah, no. There's not really a desire for me to go back and play. I kind of became a coach by Riot's own doing, so to speak, when they introduced solo duo only for ranked, for Radiant and Immortals, when 5 stacking wasn't even a thing. They completely nuked it out the game, right? And because I just played with my friends the whole time, I just wasn't having fun in ranked. I really enjoyed the strategy side, the theory side, and I was like, I might as well just give that a go, right? So.
Do you think it's more rewarding from your perspective, at least, being a successful support staff versus being a successful player?
I think there's upsides to both. I think it's a lot. You get a lot more gratisfaction from being a support staff. I feel because obviously I don't know everything, so the players are very heavily involved in everything, but when I bring stuff and when I'm right guys, this is how I feel that we fix this, and then the players are they actually act upon it, that's a really good feeling. And especially when you have a perfect ante as well, and that pays off, it's a really good feeling. But yeah, there's obviously plus sides of both. I just popped into my mind the Demon 1 photo where it's on top of when they've just won champs and he's standing like that. That is the coldest photo of all time. That must have
I think Kankan as well, the rifle. There's some sick moments.
And we won't talk about the King moment because, but yeah, no,
you got to start doing it into the coach cam. When you're in EMEA, you've got your little coach cam. Yeah.
Start doing Barbo.
There you go.
I'm a very...
You're a pacifist.
You can watch the code cams. I think there's one moment where I slam the desk in Kickoff. And apart from that, I'm just there,
I would ask Zilv to go find that, but he'll hate us forever if we do.
Zilv, put it in here.
Either way, I wanted to ask more so about some of your experiences before you were in Vitality. You were with Vexed and also with FPX for a little bit as well. I wanted to know, is there anything that you took away from those experiences? Because the next step was kind of Vitality.
So Vex was like the first like proper team I coached after Duck Gaming. But that was a really short like stint. But with Vex, I learned a lot about like actually how important people management is in coaching, and how it's not just the strategy side. It's not just that you have to like manage personalities, like when things get tough, because things always get tough. It's not always smooth sailing in teams. So I learned a lot about like conflict resolution, and the then head of esports, Dan, was really helpful in teaching me a lot about that. And then FPX, like I wasn't too heavily involved with them. I did a lot of like the anti-shredding and putting forwards like ideas, and I did a lot of the micro stuff there. Whatever like Eric would basically ask me to do, I was like, yes, okay, I'll do. Because at that point I was like, I kind of am still a nobody in terms of the broad scheme of things, but I was like, literally no one had heard of me. So I was just like, we're just basically eager for the experience, and yeah, I learned a lot from being on that team, and just in terms of like conditioning, tells, like in terms of the actual strategy side, like I learned loads from that. So yeah.
Well, you mentioned your enjoyment of ranked, as sort of how it went down with the solo duo stuff. I appreciate that. So it's a little bit of a throwback. Throwing it back further though, before Valorant, was there any other game that you thought about going pro in, that you thought about getting involved in esports?
I mean, I was an IGL in CS, like again, like tier 3. Like I didn't really play many tournaments or anything. It was mainly just scrims on the, I can't remember what website it was. So there was a scrim finder before Prac.com existed. And it was like this like 1999 like source code messenger, like IM messenger, and everyone was used to, I have 5v5 this map on, and then use the
Is that like IRC or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, like I wasn't, again, it was this, even below the level I was in Valorant when I was playing, like it was not good. But no, I really enjoyed IGLing in CS, and that kind of transferred into Valorant. But yeah, apart from that, I didn't have a lot of time to properly commit to CS. I found a lot of the time in uni when I went to uni to commit to the grind. So to speak. Like, because I was had my A levels, I was working full time on top of that. Like, I just didn't have the time to.
Was what you studied related? I want to ask, because I did a marketing degree and I don't use it at all. So I'm just curious. Like, did you do something in management or like sport or?
No, I did in A level. I did politics, economics, and history, and then at uni I did economics.
Okay.
So
So if they need the budget done.
I didn't graduate.
Okay, never mind. Don't ask him.
I dropped out.
I think Tom can help you with marketing here.
Oh yeah.
Don't lead with that.
That's definitely what Vitality need right now. Is me helping with the marketing.
No, I dropped out to move to Berlin. So it's like, sorry, no. I put it on hold.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go. Same. We're on hold.
I put it on hold. I was like, I can come back to it if I.
Is that a limited thing? Because I know I got super.
Yeah, it's just a few years.
Yeah,
I think it's like 3 or 4 years. But
3 or 4 is still even good. Usually it's 1 or 2.
I hated uni.
Yeah, fair.
Because I went during COVID.
Oh,
that's the
I can't
and it was like 2-3 years of just awful like isolation.
Yeah.
It's like I can't really go home because like there wasn't like enough space for me to be at home, because obviously my sister and my brother and my mom, and just a very thing. So it's like I just stayed at uni. Yeah. Great internet. Play Valorant all day.
That's a question actually. So you mentioned obviously CS professionally. Was there any game before that sort of dragged you into gaming, like that you played early on that you're like, that's my game?
My first game that I played was The Simpsons Hit and Run.
Back
on the original Xbox. It was the best game.
I think I had it on PlayStation. Was it on PlayStation? I mean, I had an Xbox original.
I think probably.
Yeah. PS2, but
no. So that was like the first game I played. I got into like World of Warcraft when I was like 6. Like I was young when I started. Yeah, and my dad would basically helped me with all my auctions and everything.
Oh.
And then Call of Duty when I was like 9 is when I started playing Call of Duty. I was a proper squeaker, as we used to call them back then. And then basically from there, it's like I kept playing Call of Duty. New Xbox came out, kept playing. And like my first like dabble in competitive gaming was COD Ghost Clan Wars.
What?
Me and my classmates would play Call of Duty Ghost Clan Wars, and then we'd play the MLG game battles. And then I got bored of Call of Duty and I wanted to gamble on CS.
CS:GO Lounge.
Let's not talk about that. Let's
cut that out.
Let's move swiftly away from that topic. Well, you said that obviously your uni's on hold. I think it's been on hold a while because you've been with Vitality now for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Obviously, that you've been the assistant coach, and I kind of want to ask before we like dive into this year and everything that's been going on. What does your job entail as the assistant coach? Like, what would you say that your role within the team was?
A lot of what I do and a lot of what I'm good at in that role is like preparation, whether that be map preparation or team preparation for when we're about to play officials. I'm very good at noticing tells and identifying patterns in how the other team plays. And that played a huge role in terms of like my like success, obviously with FPX in the first place, and then coming over into Vitality, like both at VRL level. We won't talk about the finals, but VRL level, and then
What was the score again?
You
said they were 2-0 up.
2-0 up, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we leave it there.
It was meant to be a best of 3. But yeah, that contributed a lot, and I think like different assistant coaches have different responsibilities depending on the dynamic. But the way that I've always like seen it is basically you need to, or at least what I try to do with my head coaches is see what each other's good at, strengths. Like, Salah's was really good at the macro and like really good at macro stuff. I'm exceptional at the micro. So it's like we divide the workload. I'll find the little pocket plays, the little alt rounds, that kind of stuff, and then he'll do the bigger picture. So, for me, it's like, yeah. Sorry, I waffled a bit.
Wow,
No, that's good. I was curious on that as well. Maybe it's jumping forward a bit too much, but will that remain the same then as far as your focus, or have you been forced to merge the two a bit now?
I mean, being a head coach is a lot more like responsibility in terms of just a broader. You can't just hyper focus on one thing. Like I have, an assistant coach and other staff members that I can delegate to. Right, I need this done. I need this done. Same with the players. Like I need you to bring pistols. I need you to bring anti-ecos. I need you to, whilst I focus more on like the bigger picture stuff. And yes, I do a lot of the micro stuff as well. But the roles have it's kind of mushroomed into a much broader.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about this year in general. So the beginning of the year, you had some pretty big changes to the roster. Like obviously you had Kick, Safe, Runner join, but you then also had Destrian sort of stick around for a little bit and then eventually end up moving on. I imagine you trialed quite a lot of players. I don't think you're one of those teams that just probably pick people up instantly. So I wanted to know what were the sort of standout characteristics of these players that you went, okay, or maybe the whole team went, this is why we need them.
So we had a really extensive like scouting list that people that's like we're thinking of, whatever. We had like a lot of interviews. We didn't actually trial that many people. We're very like, so Kicks and Runner were actually the first set of trials that we did.
Okay.
Which is like really like ironic because it's like, and we started trialing during LCQ. So it's like we got to see them against tier 1 teams, like straight away. You asked about the standout characteristics.
Yeah, like what was it about the players that you ended up picking up that you thought, okay, I feel like with Safe it might be a little bit more obvious because he was probably the best duelist.
Safe had a 1v4 and pistol round on our first scrim. And we just handed him the contract. But with Runner, he's a very intelligent player in terms of like you give him a scenario and 9 out of 10 times he's gonna either win the scenario or like at least outsmart and he's a very intelligent player, never makes too many mistakes. And he's not like a flashy duelist, like, your Cancans, your Zekans, your, the ones that double up drafts, like huge plays.
CNET?
Yeah, CNET. Like your crazy ones, right? He's more of like a, more sophisticated, like we call it what was it? Device swapping in CS.
Okay.
Where it's like gets one, falls back, gets one. Like he'll always play to guarantee the round. He'll never go for the flashy play. And that is a quality when you're coming in, off of 1 year of VRL experience and you're getting a trial for a VCT team. Like a lot of people are like, right, I need to get 30. I need to get 30 kills in this bracket. Like, I need to show that I'm good enough to hang. And the fact that his comms and the way that he was playing and his decision making was so good, it was like it just blew our mind for like such a new player to the game, like because he was pretty unknown up until this point, definitely. Right? So, and then with Kimmy, like we'd been following Kimmy for a while, back from like his Letarius, Bonk, even London esports days. If you can even go back that far.
I remember Bonk. I remember him on
Bonk. You don't remember Letarius?
No.
Right. No, but with Kimmy again, his util was like phenomenal for someone that for I don't want to say not experienced because he was around the VRLs for like 2 years, right? So, and he'd obviously played with Bonker, who taught him a lot. So, but his util was absolutely incredible. His comms were phenomenal. We have him as a big like vocal part of the team at the moment. So, no, again, he was. It's just signs in players. Like I don't know like a specific way of defining it apart from just being an eye test.
Okay.
Like they pass the eye test like every time, like it's. Yeah.
I wanted to ask about the trialing process. It's obviously a pretty tough one to get into. Was it you and Salah primarily involved in those decision makings?
It was like I brought my own players that I was keeping a tab on. But the majority of the list was Strong and Sound. And Strong is incredibly good at finding players with hidden talents that will go on and become, the tried and tested. Like I can't remember who exactly it was, but some of the names that he put down were just outrageous, and he's like, just trust me. So but yeah.
So next, I kind of wanted to talk about like where we were at Kickoff, because obviously you didn't quite have what people expected to be the full team. You had Destrian playing. Now, as someone who's a massive Destrian fan, I kind of want to ask, was there, from the beginning of the year, did you know he was going? And was there ever a world if he like was incredible and you qualified and did everything you wanted to do that he ended up staying in the team?
So I'm pretty sure the decision was made in like after we got back from India, from the convergence tournament. I can't remember fully because a lot's happened since then. But we went on a boot camp to Serbia because of Trex with his visa. Yeah. And it was in the boot camp in Serbia that we realized Trex won't have his visa in time. So we kind of had to call back on Destrian. And basically we were pretty much like we were set that Trex was going to be on the team. But we kind of like, it was just an awful situation, but we wanted to make the best out of it. And Destrian agreed because he wanted to like kind of show the teams that, basically parade himself, no pressure, like, on him. And, he did a phenomenal job.
Phenomenal.
That word. He did a great job in Kickoff for us because he was put on roles that he doesn't normally play. Yeah, because we're Sentinel, in like, right? Yeah, I mean we're in like a transitional period between the two rosters, and yeah.
One of the other sort of follow-ups I wanted to have just before we get into like the meat of what's happened this year is I think one of the biggest surprises for me wasn't so much the players you picked up or even the players that left. It was Sender being moved to the in-game leader role, because up until that point, it wasn't really like talked about that he was like this crazy brain of like Valorant, but Salah was always very convinced. Were there traits that you guys had seen before that you went, okay, we don't need an IGL, we have Sender?
It was definitely like under heavy consideration in the off season that's what we were going to do.
Okay.
We trialed IGLs. We trialed IGLs. We interviewed a lot of IGLs because obviously with Bone Cold departing, we needed someone. And basically, Sender is just an incredibly smart player. Like he's someone that he's phenomenal. I'm just going to stop saying this word.
Fantastic.
He has amazing like memory recollection. Really good memory recollection. Like you'll show him like strategies or like tells or something, and he will instantly in game pick it up.
Oh, okay.
Like instantly be this, so we can do this. So he has all the traits of being like a really good like shot caller. And in CS again, he was like in the Lithuanian scene, he was tried IGLing, and he didn't really like it at that point. But
Okay.
I hope he likes it now.
He doesn't have a choice
now. But yeah, no, he's one of the smartest players like that I've ever like. There's a reason why he's been on Vitality since the start, right? And it's because everyone's seen the potential in him. It's just no one's been able to like fully unlock it yet.
Okay.
And even still, I think that he hasn't reached his full potential. Like he still has so much more that he can show.
Okay, so moving swiftly on. Consistency seemed to be a bit of a larger problem when it came to this season with high highs, low lows. What was it that from the inside you kind of looked at these different teams that you were playing each week and go, okay, I don't know, like what went wrong here, what went right here?
So I think it was like a bit of everything in terms of like, Giants Fnatic, they all play like the same. They play Valorant. Whereas General plays. Whereas General Mates.
The General plates, yes. They've been serving. That's what you were getting to. They've been serving.
Whereas General Mates play like more like Counter-Strike-esque, right? Like
they
have a very, and it's what I really respect about them is they haven't conformed to, this is the meta comp. And we saw it in Ascension, we saw it in VRL, and we're seeing it again now. Where it's like when it works, right? And I think and it's obviously like I think partly was the prep was not ideal for that game, but also like the way that we were playing, it was just not us in terms of we were just playing scared. Like I think Sunset, one of the rounds, I think maybe round 3, where it's like we spent a whole minute just like in a flat line, not creating pressure, not taking any space, doing absolutely nothing. Like, yeah, they had like answers with what we did do, but we made the map feel small for ourselves. So yeah, I think just overall throughout the season, having to prepare for so many teams with, especially General Mates with different play styles, and that is a challenge. And I'm kind of thankful we do have, it's not like League of Legends where in the LEC you have 3 games a week, best of 1, back to back to back in 3 days. So, yeah, that definitely plays a part into it.
Well, obviously closing out loss versus Koi, not going to feel great for any roster, especially one that had so much promise like yours. But I want to ask you then, is there any one thing that you'd point to that's a problem that you see from back in those days that you want to fix moving forward? Or are the changes going to come in much broader strokes? Like looking back, was there one issue?
There's never any one issue in a team. Like there's never any one issue, never only one solution for an issue. So things, as you said, they're going to come in like broader strokes, like a lot. We're not putting too many changes in, but the changes we're doing is like fully, obviously I can't reveal too much, but like we're changing a lot about like the culture and the schedule and, that kind of thing, where it's like, as I said before, I'm telling players, I need this round from you, because I'm still obviously very new to the role. Like I'm still adjusting in terms of the responsibilities and that. And I basically said to the players, like, look, I need your help with a lot of stuff. So the players are a lot more involved in terms of strategy and that. But yeah, there's, as I said, never any one issue with anything, and there's never just one right solution.
So to answer some of the hard-hitting questions, we've brought in Rob Mulligan, the Vitality Valorant team manager, just in case you want to give us some PR responses. Let's give you some questions that you can give us PR responses to.
Yeah, I'll give you as good an answer as I can. But obviously, we can't just like give the reveal behind the curtain.
Understandable. Well, I'll give you the first hard question then. Coming into this split, main things that are changing. You've gotten rid of Salah and Strong, and you've got this man here in the head coach position. What prompted this change?
Yeah, so I think not making playoffs last split was not what we had planned for. I think it's very easy to say, like, we wanted to make Shanghai, and that didn't happen, and we had to do something, and blah, blah. This is not where we were coming from. We definitely wanted to make playoffs, and I think everyone felt that was disappointing, and the players definitely felt that was disappointing. So this, along with just the way the split had gone, like, showed us that there was something not functioning correctly in the team. The players, we think we have a really, really good set of players. We have the pieces that we need in the server. But maybe we weren't utilizing them correctly, or maybe the environment wasn't working right, or there's a whole kind of myriad of answers that could do it, and like ultimately we'll see if we made the right call, right? And we'll see if he pulls it off and we make it work in the split.
No pressure.
No pressure. But I think, like, I worked in the industry for a while, and we have some really, really skilled people in Vitality, and we took a look at the way we were working and the way we were progressing, and it wasn't what we wanted to do. So then we looked at what the options were. Now, options of find some coach that we could take out of possibly thin air, and have them magically come into a team and like fix everything for us. We were very aware that this was not an option. And we were very aware that there wasn't like a magic bullet out there. And also that like, that Salah wasn't a bad coach, and that the world wasn't falling around us, but that it wasn't going to click in the way we needed it to click. And it wasn't going to go where we needed it to go. So we decided we needed to make this kind of cultural change. We needed to make a shift. We also decided that we didn't want to make a dramatic upheaval for the players and for strategically and these kinds of things. So we came to the conclusion that the option we could think of that we thought was to bring Harry into the full head coach role. Which is something he's temporarily covered for us in the past when we were in BCL, and some other things that, I mean, me and Harry worked together for I think more than 2 years.
More than 2 years now.
So like, we have a very good relationship. We're working. We understand how each other work well together. Yeah, see? But we understand how we work well together. So again, in this sense of like, we wanted a sense of continuity. We wanted a sense of being able to come in. Because yeah, we didn't make playoffs, but also if you look at the results, it's not like we were terrible. We were on par with almost every team in all the teams in our group, right? About one map. So it's not like that we were so off the mark of where we needed to be that we needed to change everything, but we definitely weren't going where we needed to go. So yeah, Harry coming in, we have a lot of respect for Harry. We think he's doing a fantastic job, and I think the last 2 weeks have been really good for us. But yeah, that was a sense of like, gotta have some continuity to this, gotta keep the team stability there, and make sure that we weren't just going to be like, hey guys, here's this like dude you've never heard of from some random country that you've never experienced before. It was never gonna just magically appear. But saying that, we are aware that it's not like a simple task to just become the head coach overnight. It's not an easy thing to just change into. So we've done some work around how to help Harry with this, and like things that he wanted from us, and how we can make the structure work to help transition that, and then bringing in a couple of extra pieces to come in like an advisory role and to help assist in some of the coaching stuff.
And who's that?
People, you might see them in the season. They might be at the studio. We don't need to talk about exactly who they are right now, but like we looked at what.
They're gonna wear balaclavas.
Yeah, I will have full bee costumes.
Yeah, bee costumes.
No, I don't want to get into it.
Are they good? Are they good?
Very good.
They're very good. Okay.
We looked at what
Look for people who are very good.
We looked at people, what we needed in a coaching staff, what skills we felt like we were missing, and that's what we went to go and find those pieces to kind of put it together and to help support Harry in this. And I think we'll do well. I mean,
No pressure.
I think legally required to say.
Yeah, I would be worried if you came in with a different angle.
Guys,
This season we're fucked.
This is one of the most afraid I've been. No, I do feel like we have some amazing players. Like on paper alone, we have some incredible players. We have players from last split that played insanely well. We have new players that have come in for this year that have some insane potential. We didn't need a miracle change. We needed to just fine-tune things and to just adjust things so that we could unlock those players and really utilize them in the server. And that is what I'm expecting us to be able to do.
Well, then I kind of want to ask for you, Gorilla. What has been the most like big change for you, like going from assistant coach? Because we kind of asked you what the role was previously, and you said, okay, now it's slightly expanded. But what has been like maybe the hardest thing, or what has been the thing you've enjoyed almost going into this new role?
I'm not a very confrontational person. Like, pretty much everyone who, like all the teams and that have seen me, but never, I'm not someone who goes, hey, how are you? Like I'm a very to myself person. And that's the same in a team, and I don't really, like I only talk when I kind of need to.
Okay.
But having to become a head coach is like, I have to get better at talking to people. Like
that's why you're here.
Yeah, I've been kind of forced at gunpoint by Rob being sprung. You're getting an interview tonight. I'm like, yeah. Oh, by the way, it's in person.
Do a little drops on you. But also, I think one of the things that we talked about the most is when you're the head coach, you have never got the excuse to come into the room and have a bad day.
Yeah.
Like every single time you turn up to the office, you set the standard for how the players are going to be. And that as a demand is insane. Like it's a huge, huge emotional demand on a person. But that to me has been the biggest thing that you've changed, like the biggest step up, in my opinion, if coming into the office is like, you set a tone for how people need to be when you get here, and that's not something you've ever had to do before.
I mean, that's a question I had about the difficulty of fitting into a role that you haven't had a ton of experience with. I mean, in any aspect of life, not specifically in Valorant or in esports or anything like that, is that you face a lot of challenges you maybe weren't ready for or expecting. Has there been anything that's popped up, even though you're familiar with what this position entails, like in the first couple of days, any challenges you weren't expecting to run into?
I never thought that would be. There are like some times where it's like I really just don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of it is the conversational part. Like,
okay.
There's a lot of times that I don't know what to say, and that's where my assistants, come in
The shadows
and help me with that. Where I lack for experience, they kind of make up for in terms of like
Experience, then good.
experience.
Well,
You're
again,
gonna do some like on the board. Like, right, guys, it has to be. They post existence,
We're figuring
guys.
this out.
But no, they help me a lot with that, and everyone can like kind of sit and be like, oh, yeah, I could do that job.
Yeah.
And I didn't like. From my experience in being a head coach in the past, albeit not a lot, it was like, oh yeah, nothing will be too different. It'll, I did it for 2 weeks in VRL, and it was fine. I was like, when I basically got told that it was happening, I was like, okay, like it's gonna be, it's completely different.
Yeah. I suppose in that aspect, when you're filling in for 2 weeks, you're fitting into the culture, whereas now
Exactly.
you're creating.
I am the culture.
You are the culture. God help you.
I kind of want to lean my next question to Rob and then see maybe if there's a difference of opinion. But you mentioned the fact that you don't think obviously Salah was a bad coach at all. What is the difference with Gorilla coming in that you feel like, okay, he might do this in a slightly different way?
I think Gorilla's approach to well, I couldn't comment on your approach to the game. Anyone can tell you I'm not good at video games. Mostly, Valorant especially, I'm not good at. And I don't know, so I don't want to say your approach to the game is whatever. But I think your approach, Gorilla's approach to engaging in the work is different. So he's a lot more structured in his prep, which makes it. We have it's been a meme for a while, but we have a large coaching staff, right?
What do you mean? It's just him, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry, it's just him. He's the only coach.
Okay. Yeah, I'm quite large. Gorilla's not a gorilla.
Yeah. But we have a whole network of people that work together. We have coaches, we have players, we have team manager, we have backroom staff at Vitality who they're not coming in to talk about how did we take B site on Bind. No one cares about that, but there are a huge amount of other things that happen in a team life that people have input on and can give really good views and opinions on. And in order to utilize those people most effectively, we needed more structure from the head coach, and we needed to be able to work in a way that could allow us to analyze our shortcomings faster. So we needed to be able to have faster feedback loops on certain things, and we needed to be able to communicate the information to the players in a more digestible way. And I think this is some of the areas that we lacked in last split, which meant that some of our games were not as consistent as they needed to be. We had some people kind of miscommunicating on certain things, and just there are a couple of the games that we lost last split were because we weren't gelling, right? It's not because we didn't have the right idea about how to play the game. We didn't have there was just some otherness that wasn't fitting together. And I don't think anyone sat down and said that Harry being the head coach will magically solve any of that. But more that we were more confident in the way that we would work together, that we'd be able to address those issues and that we'd be able to build into them. So that's why we kind of made the choices that we made.
That's fair.
So, as far as joining this roster, as the head coach now, where do you set? We've talked about setting the culture. What about the goals? What are the short-term goals for this roster coming into Split 2?
I think goals-wise, it's obviously we want to make champs, right?
Okay.
Not just make champs, we want to make a deep run, but the first step is to actually qualify in the first place. Mm-hmm. So in terms of our goal, obviously, you ask any competitive team, what's your goal for this? Mm-hmm. Just to win, right? But in terms of my personal goals for the team is I want to see a team that's a lot more proactive in the way we play, a lot more responsibility from the players in terms of actually helping them develop as players, and putting more of a focus on individuals, individual development, and basically building a team cohesion based on that.
Okay.
Based on what you've seen in the first few days, in the run-up to the split, do you think this is going to be somewhere that you come in hot or warm into the split?
It's hard to say at the moment. We're very 50-50 in how we're playing, basically depending on maps. And then obviously map pool changes are coming, or have already, I don't know if am I allowed to say? Well,
I don't know when they're announced, but
We don't know.
some point the map will change.
I know.
Maps
now
will
now,
change.
but
Maps change.
they will change. And
Well, there's a new map coming as well.
There's a new
isn't there?
map, and then there's
Tweaks.
Yeah, changes. Some maps
Things.
some maps are changing.
I don't know when this video comes out.
When
but
does it-
Nor
Meta,
do we.
Meta is changing.
I think there might have already been leaks, if I'm honest.
Leaks are not things.
I don't want to get in
Yes.
trouble. I don't want to get in trouble if I.
Yeah.
No,
if I
that's
We'll,
fine.
we'll, we'll make sure. We'll make
There
sure.
are map pool changes coming.
There could be.
There could be. And with the timing of some of the changes, it's kind of hard to say how we'll do it during the split in terms of like, whether we're just going to, hit the ground running, just completely steamroll everyone. I don't think that'll be the case anyway. It's never the case in Tier 1. But I would assume that they're, we want to be prepared. We will be prepared for the split. In terms of our level with the other teams, we're cracking a lot of Tier 1 teams at the moment, and we're doing fairly well. So it's like, hopefully we can translate the practice into, we can walk the walk.
I wanted to ask you, you sort of mentioned working on individual basis. I know you're not going to tell me like exactly what you've been doing, especially with him sat there, but who would you say is the player you've been maybe working with the most? Like who's been like either inputting the most or just you've been sat down and go, okay, if I can craft this guy, he's the pinnacle piece.
So basically, I've given Safe a lot more like responsibility in terms of theory. He's definitely the one that brings the most.
Okay.
In terms of like the most ideas of rounds, defaults, etc. Him and Sender, we basically have a really tight feedback loop in the terms of like actually input on the game. They're the main ones. In terms of development, Runner and Sender are definitely two of the ones like we've like tweaked the way we play quite a bit.
Any role swaps?
Just have to see.
Okay. Any crazy comps? Gorilla bringing anything wacky?
I mean, you'll have to see, won't you?
I think the first one was yes. I think the second one was no.
Yeah.
I'm reading body language.
Is that a no comment from the lawyer?
The thing is, I would need to know what the roles are. I just watched the play the game.
Just say my client pleads the fifth.
My client pleads the fifth.
We respect his right.
Yeah. I can't remember the question now. There's too much joking here.
For God's sake.
It was well. I followed up with role switches and stuff like that, but also you were talking about who you were working with.
Yeah. So we're changing our like style quite a bit. Like the not approach to the game, but like just how we set up our game plans.
Okay.
And to do that, Sender's had to do a lot of work to kind of adapt his calling for that. And Runner's doing a fantastic job in terms of his individual like progress, especially. And he's always basically the whole year been someone that I've been basically hyper fixated on helping out. So.
Okay.
This paid off very well with the last person we asked. So I want to ask you, coming into the split, where do you rate your team out of 11? Give me a number.
11.
Last person said top 3, and that was Magnum from KC.
How was
That was pre-kickoff, I believe.
So
it
it's
went pretty well.
So it's not a curse. It's
No, it went.
For him, it wasn't a
remarkably
curse.
well.
Alright, guys, we're the best team in Europe. Wait, who is there? I've forgotten that. Finale.
Said he's good at anti-striding. Right?
Yeah,
I'd probably also say like if we can keep progressing at the level we've progressed the last 2 weeks, then we're definitely top 4.
Top 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like 100%. Like we still, maybe even top 3. Like we've still got like a lot to work on, but they're very not basic things, but they're like things that as soon as we nail, will like increase our like not our potential, but our like consistency and our like a lot of the stuff that was going wrong last split that like we're not trying to do like a band-aid fix. We're trying to actually like I need an analogy. Not a plaster, but like surgery and stuff.
Yeah.
Like we're going right for the nitty-gritty.
It's not plaster. You're using stitches.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what you were saying about like what are the expectations on the team, right? And you can say it's really easy to be like, we should be winning champs. We should raise a trophy.
Yeah.
Is it easy to say?
It's easy to say it,
that
right?
seems like a bit of a, like
It's a very
we
easy-
should
Go
be
ahead,
winning
say it.
champs, Gorilla.
Oh, sorry. It's easy for me to say. We want to win everything. It's a really like easy statement to make as a team. And like, yeah, of course, we would love that. That would be amazing. What do we expect? What are the like requirements, the pressures we're putting on people? It's not to do this. It's to like the focus is not about the outcome of the game. It's the focus about how we're approaching the game. Is honestly a big thing we talked about is we want people to be having fun. Like we want people to enjoy playing Valorant again.
Just not the opposition.
Not the opposition. They should have the worst time possible. And that's usually when we're having the most fun, to be fair.
I relate. I feel that.
Yeah. This is why I'm bad at the game. But you know, we have a bunch of young players. We have a bunch of like even Sender and Trex, who have both played in VCT last year, and Trex has been for a few years now. Like they're still really young players.
Yeah.
I mean, even Safe is our oldest player. Is still pretty young. Like we have a. Like Harry said, the goal is not to band-aid split two and try and hope that we pull something off. The goal is to keep the team for a longer period of time and to be making like everything next year or the year after. You know, because we don't have to win right now for this team to be doing what it needs to be doing. And I think that's a really good place to be as an esports team. Like most people are so focused on that next trophy that they don't get the opportunity to do these things like sit with runner, develop him as a player, build him out to be like, okay, we're going to do this thing with you, which might take you some time to learn, so you're going to drop down in performance, but in 3 weeks' time, you're going to shoot right back up again because you're going to have learned the game on a whole new level. And like this kind of stuff, I think, is where our focus and our expectations are at. It's personal development.
Okay. Well, I wanted to ask, you've got opening games you've got 4 teams you know that you're already playing. Of the lot, you've got Liquid, Fnatic, BBL, KC. They're all pretty tough games. Who's the one you'd most like to beat? Obviously, I know he wants to say all of them, but
It's easy answer.
oh, is it? Okay. I want to hear both answers then. Maybe it's the same.
Until this year, like Carmine were never like an issue for us in terms of like level. Like even in VRL, like they weren't that good.
You didn't think they were that good last year?
I think they redefined the game last
No,
year.
I'm kidding.
No, but it's, you know, I have a lot of respect for Eng. It's someone who I always wanted to like work with. So
Is that him? You signed it? No, I'm kidding.
Casey. Still.
That's why he has to be a secret.
Right, yeah, of course.
But yeah, it's always someone I wanted to work with and someone who at least I hope I feel I'm on a good basis with. So I have a lot of respect for like, you know, what he does, and obviously he's turned that team from what happened last year and he's turned it into something great. So obviously KC, I'd really like to actually face them when we're at a good level as well. But Fnatic is definitely one that we've got our sights on. It's someone that it's a team that, like, you know, basically everyone wants to beat Fnatic, right? Like no one really. It's kind of like you need to beat Fnatic to be taken seriously, like as a top contender properly, because it's like one team region, mate. You didn't beat Fnatic, you know, like. But as soon as you do that, then it's like kind of like a breakthrough point, right? So Fnatic definitely. But in terms of like, you know, they're just 2 teams that it's like, yeah, like, you know, I'd want to be, but ultimately you just got to take it game by game. Like everyone can beat everyone, as we saw last split with Koi, us losing to Koi, but then beating Heretics and beating Foot, right? So it's like my approach, at least with the approach to the game to the games is just game by game. Like no one should underestimate anyone, especially like BBL. Like I don't know what their coaching change, like what is it Mark now is bringing, but that, you know, but I guarantee it's something different.
I've been told he's the guy who found trained Woot and Yedajay. So BBL might be pretty good, I'll be honest.
We'll see, but it's like, again, like they gave us an issue last year, right? And Foot have obviously given us issues in the past. Like there's, you it's not a curse, but it's like, Turkish teams, they have, again, just a really unique play style. So and same with Liquid, like Liquid, it's Liquid, right? They're, again, just one of the big orgs. So just game by game, you're just going to take it and don't underestimate anyone and see where it goes from there. It could be 0-4, it could be 4-0, it could be whatever. So. I mean,
who did you want to beat?
I mean, okay, so it's the same thing of like playing Liquid, Fnatic, BBL. These are all great teams. They're great to play against. Playing Liquid's always good fun as well. I mean, I also know some of the guys that work there, and like it's good to see them in the studio, and it's a good rivalry. It's very friendly. But beating KC is really fun because the thing is, there's obviously a huge rivalry between the clubs, and like it's kind of funny for most of the team because we're not French. We don't really have much connection to French. A lot of the stuff is in French on Twitter. Like I don't even read it. I can't even see it. I can't understand it. So occasionally I get like my colleagues telling me about whatever's gone on or whatever. But there's history between the two clubs. But also credit to the KC fans is like, it's nice to play in an arena that's full. It's nice to play in places where they bring a bunch of people. Like General Mates was another great example of playing against.
General, what was it? General.
He said General Plates earlier.
But like, I love going into the room and kind of being the bad guy to some degree, being the team that everyone wants to lose and winning. That's really fun. And like, yeah, it's just, there's a bit of that French rivalry, even though none of us have engaged in any part of it at all. And they have, who's on their team that's French?
Shin.
Yeah, okay. So they have one French player, we have no French players. Like,
they've got Zeich as well.
Zeich is good, right? Yeah, so, like, they definitely hold the scene down, for sure, them and John Waits. But, yeah, man, it's fun. It's always fun. And I always get friendly messages afterwards about how great we played.
I think the Gentle Plates fans will be dropping a few messages after this one. Well, I think that's us gotten to the end of it, pretty much, isn't it?
Just one thing.
What's that?
Do you have a message to the Vitality fans? I know that he probably will do some ridiculous inspirational speech if they need it, but I feel like maybe the newly head coach. Is there, if there was just something you could say to the fans to go, okay, this is why you should have faith.
In French, of course.
Yeah. I took French until year 9, and then like decided to
Far
take
away.
German instead.
Oh, well, it's worked
can't
out.
speak German either.
I can't speak German.
Oh, I was gonna say good choice, but never mind.
Like yeah, like I could, I can kind of just say the whole cliche thing, right? With the thanks for the support, like the trust. But like honestly, we didn't live up to our expectations in the first split, and we are doing the work to basically course correct that and to be a more consistent team at a better level. And I'm sorry if you guys, I know that we all get really frustrated about results and the team especially, and it must suck seeing your favorite team, like just like in football, right, not live up to what they can do. But we're working on that, and thanks for sticking by us.
And buy the Zip bundle.
I'm pretty sure they've already
It was so wholesome, it was so heartfelt, so grounded,
I can't do anything around here without him just,
Well, in all seriousness, thank you so much for taking the time, guys, for having us over as well. It's been fantastic.
And taking the 4 cameras dying.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
I think we made something special, something unique here today. Something not many
We'll see if
people
it's
can
good.
do. Whoa. Hold your horses. That's it from us, though, for today. We'll be back with more teams, and maybe we'll jump back in with Gorilla later on in the season, see how he's getting on. We'll see you soon.
We'll see him at Champs.